cars are just so many, and there's just so many to pick from. But this week we've been blessed with spending some time with the Citroën C3 Max. And right from the get-go, you know what, Citroën is very distinctive. So up front we do have this lovely grille over here that also runs into this lovely boomerang headlights over here, of which I really do appreciate. Another thing that I really appreciate has to be this headlights over here, which are not halogen. So this being the 1.2 Max, which is like the top spec, you do get some LED headlights, of which that I do appreciate. But moving along to the side, we do have this lovely diamond cut alloy rims over here, and I must say, man, this lovely grey paint really suits this vehicle quite well. This vehicle actually came with quite a few options to choose from. So when they launched it, it actually had some fun colors. So our variant over here has a white roof, so you can spec it with the color being orange and a white roof and things of that matter, or even a black roof. But moving along to the rear, I do like the side proportions of the vehicle, even though there's one feature that I really don't like, which is that active key barrel, of which in a vehicle for 2025, my bad, I really don't think it's much appreciated. But moving along to the rear, we also do have this lovely tail lights over here and C3 badging over here with, of course, our pure tech. I don't know, I think this is just some code name for the engine. But if we pop open the boot, let me just look for it. So the button is very difficult for you to get. You need to actually look, and voila, you will be greeted to somewhat of a decent boot. It's actually quite decent. It stacks up to its competitors like the Suzuki Swift, a bit more than the Suzuki Swift actually, and I think just a bit more like similar to the Mahindra 3XO. But with that being said, let's jump into the interior and let me take you guys through that. One more thing that I forgot, it also does have a reverse camera back here. Alright, so into the interior of the C3, and right from the get-go, let's look at what will be in front of you, right? So up front we do have this lovely digital cluster over here that displays all your driving information. If there's anything that I have to say I like, has to be the graphics and everything that it displays up over here compared to the other small screen that you get in the C3 Aircross. Another thing that I really like has to be the steering wheel, more into the feel of the steering wheel and into the driving impressions. But another cool feature, or another thing that actually stands out, has to be this lovely 10-inch landscape screen over here, of which it's very nice, and I feel like it's class leading in a vehicle of this class, right? So we also do have a single zone climate control over here. Unfortunately, we do not have a type C, but we do have a normal USB and a 12-volt socket with, of course, 2 cup holders and our automatic transmission over here. But overall, materials in this vehicle doesn't really feel that nice. It does feel a bit plasticky and a bit budgety, but unfortunately I cannot complain. The seats are okay, but yeah, I think they could have been a bit better, but oh well, it is what it is. But into the back seats. So into the back seats back here, and leg room is somewhat okay. I can somewhat fit in here. The bench on the other side does feel a bit firm. Another thing that I don't like is the fact that my headrest over here it's actually an integrated headrest, so it's not an individual one that I can adjust. So your back passengers over here will kind of feel a bit strained, but nonetheless, on the plus side, you do get 2 USB ports over here, no cup holders, no armrest, but oh well, it is a budget vehicle. But with that being said, let's jump into the driving impressions, because I think this is where the Citroën kind of makes up for it. Alright, so you guys, into the driving impressions of the Citroën C3, and right from the get-go, you know what, let's just talk about how this vehicle actually drives. The engine is very responsive, that much I will say. So what powers this vehicle is a 1.2 liter turbo engine, and it puts out an output of 81 kilowatts and 205 newton meters of torque. And to put that into perspective, a lot of vehicles in this class or its rivals actually range around the 61 kilowatts. So this has to be one of the most powerful budget vehicles that you can buy. And yeah, man, like, I feel like, you know what, most of the time when you get a budget vehicle with an automatic transmission, it really does not feel pleasant. But with this one, I really had no complaints. It used to get the job done and everything of that matter, right? It actually drives quite well. Like, it pulls when you need it to pull. And yeah, man, I actually really enjoyed driving this vehicle. right? But if there's anything that I maybe did not necessarily enjoy, is the fact that this vehicle comes with a 32-liter fuel tank, right? So how that looks like, and to put it into perspective, is the fact that you're going to be refilling quite a lot should you take this vehicle out on a long distance to drive, right? So right now I'm sitting just below half a tank, and my range is telling me that I have 91 kilometers. So you can imagine how frustrating that it's going to be when you need to top up now, here and there, right? Speaking of the fuel tank, let's speak about fuel economy, right? So currently Citroën claims around about 6.3. I haven't seen that. Currently I'm averaging 7.6 liters per 100 k's, and for me personally, that's a bit steep. If I'm being honest with you, that's for a vehicle of this size, looking at its competitors, already that's a bit steep, right? And yeah, man, I really don't know. But another cool feature that it has is the fact that whenever you're driving it, it has this little leaf that turns from green, orange, and then red, depending on to how your driving style is. But yeah, when it comes to road noise, right? It's a budget vehicle. I can't necessarily complain that much about road noise, but it's okay. It's okay. It does feel a bit windy when you're driving along on the highway and things of that matter. It does feel a bit windy, and the cabin, you do feel like you're not insulated that well from the cabin, so you do hear a whole lot of road noise, tire noise, but it's to be expected. Another thing that I don't like, right, has to be how the steering wheel feels, right? Yes, it's light, but I feel like it's a bit too light, to the point where it actually feels like it's a bit disconnected from the road, right? Like it feels like it's a bit disconnected. You need to put in quite a lot of input for it to actually turn or things of that matter, right? So that's another thing that I really don't like. But I feel like, you know what, Citroën has repositioned the C3 in quite an okay space, right? So looking at our market here in South Africa, so I really do feel like this vehicle actually stands a good chance. As I mentioned earlier on, I'm just not sure about the resale value. So looking at how Citroën and everything of that, and Citroën and the whole Stellantis group kind of had a moment where they pulled out of the country. So I'm not sure how that will affect it. But pricing wise, I feel like, you know what, they got it spot on, and by no means am I saying this is a bad vehicle. This is actually quite one of the best, one of the few good budget vehicles. So yeah, man. But with that being said, I'm CJ from 60 Avions, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.